How does it feel to be ridiculed on national television, on The Tonight Show, before an audience of nearly 3 million people because your last name is Dick? That's what happened on March 16th, 2015 to flautist, composer, and author Robert Dick when his book, The Other Flute, was included in a comedy segment about books that should not be read. Jimmy Fallon, the host of the show, never discussed the content of the book. The humor was based solely on his name.
I was pretty upset by all of this, and then I realized I was far more upset, when I was 6 years old, when all this dick joke crap started. I guess emotionally I'm dealing with a 6-year-old, even though he's talking to however many million people. My fantasy is to get on the Fallon show, blow them away, appear to be laughing with, but laughing at, and at the end, before I say goodbye, giving him a little present, which would be a condom about that big to go right over his head. And it would be the ultimate gift from the dick to the dickhead. The world's leading contemporary flute player, as a composer, performer, improviser. Amongst the things I've done has been writing several books for composers and flutists. The first one was The Other Flute, and in my early 20s, I set out on a quest to try to find all the sounds the flute could produce. I had never been satisfied with the traditional conception of the flute. It just didn't seem enough. The difference between George Harrison and Jimi Hendrix was infinitely more than the difference between Julius Baker and Jean-Pierre Rampal, who were the two flute avatars of the day. And I wanted the flute to have that kind of range too. I mean, it was such a period of expanding conception. And so it was a search for all the sounds the flute would produce. And it has become the standard work. And it's still in use. There's never been another one to knock it, to supersede it. And composers and flutists all over the world have used it as a source of sounds, because that's what it is. It's just a vast dictionary of sounds. Now, had Jimmy Fallon looked in the book, he would have found a wealth of potentially comedic material vastly superior to what he had. But pages and pages of new fingerings. I mean, come on, throw that at the writers. The very expression, extended techniques. How could he have missed that? It was a poor performance. I mean, in the realm of dick jokes, it was limp. I mean, only people named Dick, and there are quite a few of us in the world actually, know about this as extensively. Guys like Fallon are complete amateurs. I'm trying to get on the show, because I'd love to show the world this stuff, but, in a way too, I have a feeling that by laughing with this fool, I can make the point that mocking people just because they're different in some way or other is just, so lame. And where does it, if it begins with laughing at somebody's name, where does it end? Do we go on to their face, their race, their religion, the limb that they may or may not have, the fact that one eye doesn't quite focus? I mean, I think if Johnny Carson saw that, he would have been heartbroken that it's come to that. What has happened so far with this incredible outpouring of support from, mostly flutists, but musicians and friends and people all over the world has really been great. And, what I do is, you couldn't really categorize as commercial. And so often you feel like nobody's listening. And I've been made to feel in the last few days that my life and work have meant a lot to a lot of people. And I didn't really think I'd have anything to thank Jimmy Fallon for, but I guess I have that to thank him for.